let's talk a little bit about damages in a California wrongful termination and/or discrimination case. Now, at Brandon Banks Law, although we can't guarantee any particular outcome for any of our clients, one of the things that we at least try to do is assess potential damages to assess whether there might be light at the end of the tunnel for our clients at the end of their wrongful termination and/or discrimination case. Now, when looking at most employment wrongful termination and/or discrimination claims in California, damages normally fall within one or two categories. Lost wages, which can loosely be defined as compensation for the income you missed out on as a result of the wrongful termination and/or discrimination. And two, emotional distress damages, compensation for the mental and emotional distress caused by the unlawful treatment that you experienced at work. So when looking at, for example, lost wages, imagine that you were wrongfully terminated from a job that prior to your termination was paying you $50,000 per year. And let's say that it took you 6 months to find a new job. Well, if you were unemployed for 6 months, and let's say that during that 6-month period of unemployment, you did your best to mitigate your damages by trying to find alternative employment, but let's say you couldn't, despite your best efforts, we would argue that you were entitled to lost wages for that 6-month period of unemployment, in this case amounting to $25,000 in lost wages. Now, let's look at emotional distress damages. If the wrongful termination and/or discrimination at work caused you anxiety, depression, or some other form of emotional trauma that we could attribute to the wrongful termination and/or discrimination in the workplace, we would argue that you're entitled to emotional distress damages as a result. Now, in order to be entitled to these damages, however, generally the plaintiff has to be able to establish liability on the part of the defendant employer, and the defendant employer generally has to be in a position to satisfy a judgment or to pay a settlement. So if the company has filed for bankruptcy or shuts down operations, collecting damages could prove to be difficult. Now, if you're wondering if you have a case, a wrongful termination and/or discrimination case, I would recommend maybe speaking to an employment attorney to see if they can help. And if you happen to be in California, we'd be happy to speak with you.